Welcome, everyone, to the Sickos Committee podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of February 25th, 2024. We are almost at Leap Day. What day is Leap Day? Is that later?
It's the 29th.
It's January 29th. It's
February
the same
29th.
day every 4 years, or February,
It's February
29th.
29th. But yes, it is
Yeah.
February 29th
Arthur's
every
right.
4 years.
No, it's
Regarding-
it's never a different
But it's not.
day.
It's not every 4 years. Because in the year 2000, there was not a leap year.
Yeah,
Well, that's because it is a
every
year
4
divisible by
years except
200.
when it isn't. Yes, but to answer your original question, Jordan, it's Thursday.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the Earth's orbit is slightly off, so we can't take every leap day, or else we'll get ahead. Because we wouldn't want that happening.
But we can't not take every leap day, or we'll fall behind.
So, y'all, tonight I am drinking Mai Tais. I'm very excited about that. Beth, you mentioned that you did not know what was in a Mai Tai.
I still don't know what's in a Mai Tai because I was busy making bread.
You were. A Mai Tai traditionally is different kinds of rum, 2 or 3 at least.
How many kinds of rum are there? I ask as someone who really doesn't know much about rum in general beyond
there are-
pirate movies.
There are a
Several?
lot. It's more about it's more like dark and light in the middle. There's age, different kinds, things like that.
Okay.
It also has orgeat, which is orgeat syrup is like an almond syrup with rose water in it and a little bit of orange flavoring usually. It's very specific to tiki drinks. Like these kinds of drinks are considered like tiki is the branch.
Okay. So do you have an umbrella of some sort in your beverage?
I do not. I do have a cute straw though.
Okay. Yeah, that is a cute straw.
So
I will confirm.
I would have gotten none of these because I would have mixed it up with Muay Thai.
oh yes, no, that's
That's
slightly
a
different.
thing.
That's when the drink kicks your ass.
Mai Tai, Muay Thai, Pad Thai, all the same.
Oh, same. This also has lime juice, and it also has curacao, dry curacao, which is an orange liqueur flavored thing from the island of Curacao, usually traditionally.
Not blue.
Not blue, because I've tried to make this blue, and it really turns into a weird color.
Yeah, because
And-
orgeat's kind of hazy, and so you're just going to end up with like gross pool water.
Does
Right.
blue curacao taste like blue?
No, it's orange. It just happens to be blue.
Okay. It doesn't taste like 90s blue?
No.
it doesn't.
Okay.
You want blue raspberry for that flavor.
Yes.
The other thing about Mai Tais is when you order them a lot of places, they come with all these fruit juices in them. But that is not traditionally how they're like. The original is not how it's made. I have a book from the excellent Smuggler's Cove bar in LA, and they're very particular about their history of their Mai Tai, and it's not. You know how drink people get very weird about like, oh, I have the original recipe, whatever. The original recipe definitely does not use fruit juices. However, I do throw pineapple juice in mine. I like pineapple juice. Just a little splash of that. But I made a double, so I brought the shaker in here with my strainer because I have more than I need, so I need to keep pouring into it as I keep drinking. So this should be fun.
I like
today.
how
I
you
also
make Red Robin milkshake of cocktails.
but that happens, right? Like you make a double and it doesn't fit. You know me and ice. I like to overfill my glasses with ice, anyways, especially for like a tiki drink. What do you have a favorite tiki drink, El? Do y'all drink tiki?
I have dabbled in tiki drinks. I don't have a strong opinion about them. They're enjoyable.
I like it when other people make them. I don't go to that amount of effort, but yeah, if I'm in a bar somewhere or I'm buying pre-canned cocktails, then like sure. But I also don't differentiate. Like I just say like, yep, sure, like that'll probably be pretty sweet and I can drink one of those and then be fine.
I love scorpion bowls. A scorpion bowl is something that was really a pre-pandemic thing because it involves a lot of people drinking out of a single container. And it with long straws, and it is basically all the juices, the orgeat, the lime juice, and all the rums.
Oh,
It's tasty.
I think there was a bar I went to in like downtown Pittsburgh that had those like in 2019.
Yeah, they're really
But,
yummy.
Yeah, it's been a minute for those.
Yeah, that's sort of a pre-pandemic thing. I love tiki. This is one of my old man things, is that like the idea of a good tiki drink, which if you think about tiki drinks, like that's very 50s and whatever.
Yeah, have it with your aspic.
Right.
Are tiki drinks old man?
Yeah,
That's
no,
not what I think.
they're back, Jordan. I don't think this is an old man thing
Okay.
because like
Well,
tiki
that's
bars
good.
are
I'm hip
back.
now. Oh, I'm hip.
Sure.
I do think that many of your tiki drinks are probably listed in my grandparents' dial a drink that I have stashed somewhere in my library.
I'm going to guess so because they've come back around. I would also like to say today I got the chance to smoke a pork shoulder. I want to talk about that a little because I have something to say about that. But let's talk about who's on this podcast first. As always, I have Commish, I have Pitt Girl, I have Beth, and I have Arthur on the ones and twos. Beth, how are you?
I'm swell. I baked. All is well.
The cheddar onion loaf looked very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited.
Mm-hmm. I haven't made bread in a while, and so it was just nice to be reminded that I still know how to do this. Like, the bread magic is still strong with me.
Pitt Girl, what bread are you making?
I am making sourdough because I accidentally killed my sourdough starter, but then someone who I had given sourdough starter to has returned the sourdough starter to me. So now I have Son of Harold, and I am making bread with Son of Harold literally right now, actually.
What do you use your excess starter in? Like, are you a sourdough pancakes critter?
I do enjoy
What road
those.
do we go down?
We have made pizza dough once. I am also like sort of at the point where it's like I know exactly how much I need to make bread, and so I don't actually have too much excess that I then have to discard. Because the bread recipe I use is actually not correct, and so I have iterated upon it and used more starter than it calls for. So as for a springier sourdough loaf.
I mean, every bread recipe that any of us have ever spent a lot of time with always ends up with like a this much plus a smidge plus a like.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of the bread magic.
Yep,
a sourdough starter implies the existence of a sourdough finisher.
That's the oven.
I assume that some wrestler has the sourdough finisher. Is that a wrestling
Or
term?
I guess it's me eating the end of the bread. I am the sourdough finisher.
Yes, you are. Commish, how are you, sir?
I'm currently on this diet that I can't have any carbs, so everybody's having
You're sorry.
I'm sorry.
bread. It's great. And then Jordan talking about Mai Tais and just remembering that I was a bartender for probably about 10 years, throughout college and a little bit after college and everything like that. And, him being kind of particular with the Mai Tai, and I was like, I'm like, Jordan, you've probably been a little bit of a pain in the ass to make a drink for.
Oh, I am 1,000%. But I only order fiddly drinks at places known for fiddly drinks.
Okay,
I'll fully admit because I'll drink most places I'll drink just a gin and tonic.
Because I mean, like I was like a bartender at like a chain restaurant and like I could just see Jordan rolling up to like a steakhouse, not a nice steakhouse, maybe like a Texas Roadhouse or something. Like I would like a Mai Tai.
Sir, around here, that is the nice steakhouse.
Yeah, I mean.
No, I'm not. I promise you I will not roll up to. I know where I can order a fiddly drink and where I can't.
Okay.
I don't order fiddly drinks unless I know the bar, unless it's a place that has those.
What is, like, to make the bartender not hate you, what is the greatest kindness drink-wise that you can do for them?
I mean, really, it's just simple drinks.
Rum and Coke, gin and tonic.
I mean, rum and Coke, gin and tonic. I mean, just like
I'm usually like, give me a finger of said single malt scotch and I will leave you alone for the next 45 minutes kind of human. Does that work?
It's perfect. Anything neat, that's awesome. Neat means
don't
ice, by the way.
Don't put ice in it. That's wrong.
No, I want my old fashioned smoked under with a cedar plank under a glass dome where you like light the cedar on fire. And it smokes your drink in the chamber. That's definitely not the type of I did work at a country club, but there was a lot of like weird drinks I would make. I would make some really old school drinks, like the ones with the cocktail onions, and I was like, "What are we doing here?" Oh yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I used to order Brandy Alexander's, and I ordered one like at a bar right by closing, and nearly made the bartender cry. Because I was forcing him to do an ice cream drink at the end of the night, which I should not have done. And ever since then, I order a finger of scotch neat.
There is a code to just like not make the bartender hate you. But if like, again, if you do that, like, hey, I would like a Brandy Alexander, and then you're flashing like a nice tip right there, I'll just be like, whatever. Sorry, this is what you want. I'll go ahead and get that done for you. There's, the high maintenance folks and places that don't exist. Like, it's like, this is not high maintenance. What are you doing here? Like, what are you doing
Yeah.
at this chain restaurant asking for, something pretty crazy? I mean, we had our own like drink menu, which was, just stupid stuff. Just like, here's like fruit juices and stuff. And
This is also so. My
Yeah.
other thing is I don't trust a place that doesn't make its own orgeat. So if I
Yeah,
know that the place isn't making its own orgeat, then I'm not going to order a cocktail
dude,
drink there.
I don't even like an orgeat, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And like as soon as you said blue curacao, I was like, man, that bottle was always dusty.
Oh yeah, no, like that's it's one of those bottles.
That bottle was dusty
exactly
as
those
hell.
bottles.
Like we've had that bottle for like 10 years, and that bottle always collected dust. And then here comes one person. I want a blue lemonade or something. And I was like, oh god, really? Like,
What happens, at least what you got to do is you got to have like themed, like special thing, like a night where it's like there's some reason you got to have blue drinks,
yeah.
right? I don't know. I don't like. I definitely feel like I have the least amount of bar experience, whatever, because like by the time the pandemic hit, I was still just going to like college bars. I had like graduated for a couple years, but I never graduated to like going to nicer bars that like actually like made drinks. So like most of my upscale bar knowledge is just from watching episodes of Bar Rescue, right? Where of course John Taffer comes in and he will then add drinks to the menu that are expensive, right? Like big upcharges that are fancy. So that's where I like anything I know about fancy drinks is probably from that show. But when I go into a bar now, I always try, just because like I'm curious like how a bartender will respond. I just ask is like, oh, like, do you have anything that you recommend? Is there anything that like I should order here? And it's funny, like a lot of places I go, like sometimes they'll just be like, no, like I can't think of anything, which is kind of funny to me. Like you'd think,
that's the bartender that's like, okay, dude, I know how to make thousands
no, like
of drinks.
it's
and
now
it's
cool.
You're asking me to figure out what you want.
Well,
normally I'll
I
ask
mean,
you questions back.
I'm not saying that like that's like bad or anything, but I kind of appreciate it more if it's not the kind of place where they're like, oh yeah, like we have this really high margin drink, you should try it, versus just, I mean, like I've been to bars where I've been like, oh, like, well, like, do you have anything you recommend, like anything that's really good here? And they'll just be like, well, we got a lot of beer on tap, and especially it's like domestic beer, like that's like, yep, like that is actually what I want. So
There was this super douchey place in Dallas. It's no longer there, unfortunately. It was a speakeasy, but right at the beginning of the speakeasy craze, so you had to know to get in there. You had to have a reservation to get in there too. And what would happen is there was no bar list at this place. The bartender would come to your table and ask you for an idea about what you wanted. Do you want something herbaceous? Do you want something sweet? Do you want fruit juices? Do you want whatever? And some really good hit or miss. Like sometimes they a little miss, but the best drink I ever had there was root beer and absinthe with a fuck ton of mint on top. And absinthe and root beer really hit nicely.
Okay,
Because they have a lot of the same flavor combinations, and the mint was really good. And after that, like I would just go there and be like, I want a Scotch drink or whatever, just whatever. And it was great. It was expensive for sure. But just having a bartender go like, here, this is a play on a blah, blah, blah. This is one of those places. I don't know. I like drinks. This is one of those things.
The mood thing is just, if you ask me what you want, and I'm like, okay, what type of mood are you in right now?
Yeah.
Are you feeling, I'm asking you questions back. I'm like, tell me what you want, but you can't think of a name of a drink for this.
What's the quote? Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you what you are.
Yeah, basically, it's just like I'm just going, like, okay, what type of mood are you in? Are you feeling, tropical? Are you feeling light and breezy? I mean, do you want something to punch you in the face?
Yes, always.
Do you want something that you can't taste anything, but it may get you in trouble later?
There was a place also in
Want that?
Dallas that for
I
Prohibition
will make
Day,
those.
They-
I had a lot of fun making those.
they would sell drinks for Prohibition style cocktails for however many cents. Years it's been since Prohibition was repealed, so it was like 95 cents, 96-cent drinks for like 3 hours. But they'd be all the old like heavy boozy like not Blood and Honey, uh, Bee's Knees or Blood and Sand or like the really boozy old school ones, and that was always good for I'm stumbling out of a bar drunk at 4 p.m. Oh God, I still have to do things in the evening. I do want to say that I smoked another pork shoulder today, which I'm very excited about. But I found through a YouTube video, Phil Edwards on YouTube, one of my favorite explainer dudes on YouTube, did one YouTube video about barbecue, and he flashed this image of a BBQ Flyer from 1921, and I kind of want to read part of it, if you guys will allow me. It's in the show notes, but I'll say it out loud. This is a whole page advertisement about this barbecue from 1921. Come on, bud. Eat a whole hog if you can. Don't miss the big annual barbecue at Finger, August 6th, 1921. I have no clue what Finger is. This will be a real day of pleasure for all your friends will be there. Look at the big premium list, and all premiums will be paid the day of the barbecue. This is no fake to get you out and not show you a good time. Leave your troubles at home. Forget your sorrow. Come and bring every creeping thing on the place. Even let old Limber come along and get a bone. I have no clue what that means.
Dog. Bring dog. Okay. Dog will get a snack.
Okay. If you haven't got a tooth in your head, come and we'll save a good tender piece for you and wash it down with a good cold drink. Come, look, listen, laugh, and grow fat. Y'all.
That's our slogan.
It
is.
That's my live, laugh, love right there. But even better, they had contests. And I want to talk about these contests because some of them are a little creepy. The barbecue committee will give 50 cents in cash to a boy under 6 years old who can run the fastest. John Wharton will give $1.50 necktie to the fastest fat man on foot over 200 pounds.
Can I just say the phrase 50 cents in cash is a great phrase.
Yes.
I want to write a 50-cent check so badly now.
I'm going to Venmo you 50 cents.
I'm going to skip
if you said to me in this day and age 50 cent in cash, I would assume it would be some like deal that 50 Cent the rapper had signed. That would be the only context I would accept.
Yeah, a copy of Get Rich or Die Trying. So other ones. DC Holder will give 2 pounds of coffee to the oldest woman on the grounds. James Smith & Co. will give $1.50 pair of silk hose to the prettiest curly-haired girl not over 10 years old. Okay. James Smith, we need to have a talk. H.L. Hodges will give a sack of flour to the largest family on the ground. Largest is in number or largest is in combined weight?
Unclear.
How heavy is a sack of flour?
This sounds like one of those, like, you know, those logic problems where like you have all these things and then you have to figure out like how do you get across the river or something? Like that's what
who
this
can't
feels
sit
like.
next to who? Yeah,
Well,
Beth,
you can't leave the fox with the chicken. Yeah.
Historically, a sack of flour was between 215 and 100. Was between 100 and 215 pounds.
That's a lot of flour.
Yes, that's so much. It's not as much now. But yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Commercial bakers now, when they buy sacks of flour, it's 140 pounds. So that is the standardization we have come to.
R.L. Carter will give a bushel of meal to the man who can call hogs the loudest. L.A. Beatty will give half dozen photographs to the prettiest baby under 2 years old. W.L. McCaskill.
Photographs of what?
I don't know. W.L. McCaskill, the barber, will give $2 pair of silk hose to the prettiest girl between 15 and 20.
Creep.
Well, at least he's like...
You know,
Still
I like the fact... No. Let's look at this logically. At least when you're between 15 and 20, you get a slightly more expensive pair of silk hose.
Yes. R.G. Young will give a bottle of cake flavor to the oldest old maid.
Cake flavor?
Yeah.
What?
The oldest old maid.
I hate this.
Listener, Beth just scrunch-faced.
Oh, yeah.
I need you to know that Beth did the scrunch face.
Coca-Cola Bottling Works will give a fine clock to the man who has the most children, grand, and great-grandchildren on the ground.
How's your clock? It's fine.
It's fine. It's an okay clock. J.R. Harris will give $1 in sugar to the couple married the longest. Dr. W.M. Barnes will give 1 box stationery to the prettiest girl. Bliss Hair will give 1 pound of coffee to the fattest woman.
Bliss Hair.
Bliss Hair.
Bliss
Come
Hair
on.
is handing out a bag of coffee.
To the fattest woman.
What?
Dr.
A can of
N.
coffee, I'm sorry.
will give stationery and a bottle of perfume to a girl between 5 and 10 who can sing the best.
Okay, that's a little.
This is my favorite. J.E. Stevens Barber will give a box of Melba face powder to the least married woman on the ground.
What does that
What?
mean?
Right. Okay. So I can't decide if this is the woman who's been married the shortest amount, or the woman who is the most like, I'm not dating anyone. I am so not married right now.
The person with the most number of affairs.
I guess.
I was reading this as sort of the most what is the word that I want here?
Your eyebrows are dancing.
Eyebrows there.
And the last one's interesting is WP Massey will give 1 pair of silk socks to a man who could whistle the best tune. I think I get that one. Or the fastest man.
Is whistling the best tune? Is that like the quality of the whistling, or like what tune? Like, is it going to be like, wow, like you got to be able to whistle like, I don't know,
want someone
Outcast
to rules lawyer in 1921. Aha! But I said the finest tune, and this is the best tune.
Oh, speaking of that, this is a complete another non sequitur. Feel free to cut this out later if it's not as weird as I think it is. But in the show that I'm doing right now, one of the lines is, I'm just going to be over here humming Swanee River. And the person who said this line then proceeded to hum Happy Birthday.
Close. So close.
Is it?
Mm-mm.
I mean, they're both songs.
Yeah. They're humming like, Swanee River. And like, yep, it's my favorite song. I'm like, what? What has happened?
I'm going to sing the Star Spangled Banner, and I bust out into Oh Canada. No, but even then, that's more of a sequitur.
Yeah, it's still too close.
Anyways, barbecues in 1921 were awesome. We should all go back to that. I think we should have a tailgate and have contests. Wherever we do a tailgate next year, if we go to the brawl, we'll have a tailgate, and we're going to post a list of contests people can have. Like, the young man who can drink the most Fireball.
I'm about to.
For legal reasons, we're not doing that.
Oh, God damn.
I do have a tailgate we can crash that would probably let us do not that specific thing, but other contests.
Can I have
please not for that tailgate.
The oldest old maid. The oldest old maid gets a bottle of cake flavor. Beth, stop scrunch facing me. Anyways, this is great.
So in 1921, was there just like a spice called cake? Like now you go in the spice aisle and you've got like oregano and paprika and all that. Was there just like cake?
I'm assuming it was an extract. Like it was extracts you could use for cake flavoring.
Yeah, like almond or something.
Yeah. Almond, vanilla, one of those.
Might have been chocolate, actually. It might have been like a chocolate. Yeah.
It's possible.
So yeah, anyways, I loved that. That was great. Now we can talk about football. I believe at the end of the last show, I said that the carousel was done. And that's when Georgia State's coach got lifted.
Jordan, you gotta stop doing this.
No, but they actually got an upgrade, I think, because Del McGee is now their head coach. Y'all know Del McGee?
I do not.
Del McGee played at Auburn. He was also an analyst in the 2013 National Championship Auburn season. He's also been Georgia's running backs coach the last 8 years. That's not bad, right? That's a pretty good. Was also the run game coordinator. Was also the assistant head coach at Georgia for a bit too, until 2018. He was also running backs coach at Georgia Southern and assistant head coach at Georgia Southern as well. And yeah, he's from Columbus, Georgia. He's local. But most importantly and most interestingly, he has a national championship ring. Not just the two with Georgia, not just the one with Auburn, but he played football for the Los Angeles Extreme of the XFL.
The Tommy Maddox led
1.0, yes. And was
Los
on
Angeles Extreme.
And won the quote unquote $1 million game. And so he has a winning ring from that. We love to see our beautiful XFL version 1.0 boys get head coaching jobs now.
So we got
Leaders
two.
of men.
Yes.
We got two right now that I'm aware of, right?
Uh-huh.
We got Brom, who is in Louisville.
Yeah.
And then we do have we have the new Georgia State coach, Del McGee. So that's two. Do we have any other like XFL players turn coaches in the college football ranks?
I'll throw this into our off-season notes channel or some or brainstorming channel because
Okay.
I want to keep digging XFL players who are now coaches somewhere, because I think that's a really interesting thing, because that's such a weird 1 year thing, yet it keeps coming up in random spots.
Yep.
This is a really good hire. Like I don't want to say that they upgraded, but folks are excited about this for good reason. Like this is sort of what you would want from an upgrade hire in the Sun Belt. I don't know. I like this.
Yeah, I mean, they seem excited about it. I mean, Georgia State, again, it's a university inside Atlanta, huge market. I mean, you're competing with Georgia. You're also competing with Georgia Tech, and then the various schools around for recruits. But
Southern and yep.
I mean, yeah, you have a lot of things going for you. You have new facilities. You have the converted baseball stadium now, somewhat looking more football stadium like. I feel like there's some advantages there, and their previous coach did the Satterfield thing, the Satterfield scenario, got out before he was off the hot seat. So I mean, his last moment as a head coach was getting fries dumped on him. Now he's a tight ends coach in South Carolina.
So that's the other thing, right? Is that we're back at this thing of, I don't know which narrative I hate the most right now. The one that bugs me the most is no one wants to coach in college anymore because college is too hard. So they're all leaving for other jobs.
I can't do it. I can't.
Except if you look at it, it's all people that either wanted the fuck out of college, or we're already on a hot seat and we're jumping ship while the getting was good.
I mean, even outside of that, it just has the same energy as like every boomer in the world being like, nobody wants to work anymore. Like,
yes.
use rub two brain cells together for half a second and do some critical thinking and come back.
But it's so much easier if I just reprint exactly what these coaches who are going to be fired and jump jobs are saying. If I just print exactly what they're saying, it's so much easier than if I have to think about what they're actually mean. It's so much easier.
Thinking is hard.
It is very difficult for me. And I'm not slamming our folks in college football media, because you have to publish the quotes. I get that. That's why we can sit here and go, I'm glad that certain coaches said, I don't want to be in college anymore. I left because of whatever reason. And if you look at it, they were actually going to get their asses fired in a year anyways.
Probably. I do want to give a shout out to the coach of Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham.
Yes.
His statement, which was fantastic. He stated that he's tired of the moaning. Like, he's tired of this too. And he says, I literally spent 9 years of my life doing anything to become a coffee boy, he said. So don't give me it's hard to be a coach right now. Yeah, it's hard. Then quit.
Let someone else come and take your job.
I mean, if you're going to move to an NFL coordinator, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. There's not a trend. I'm just tired of the back and forth.
But if I put two dots on a graph and draw a line through them, it's a trend, Commish.
Oh,
that's how statistics works.
Well, I mean,
it's true. The line goes up, or sometimes it goes down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, if sometimes it goes down, you just reflect it across the y-axis, and then it goes up.
Exactly. The other interesting move was that Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Eric, I can never pronounce his last name. Help me here, Commish. Bieniemy has a 2-year deal to join UCLA as associate head coach, offensive coordinator.
I don't know why, but every time I see Eric Bieniemy, the stupid nickname that Chris Berman gave him.
What was that?
Is just lodged in my brain from watching NFL primetime for years upon years of football highlights, NFL highlights. His nickname was Eric Sleeping with the Bieniemy.
I like Eric Bieniemy, by the way, also he played at Colorado back in the Big 8 days.
Yeah.
Also was running back coach at Colorado, UCLA running backs coach, and then he's been in the NFL forever. He was at the Chiefs for a long ass time.
Yeah,
It was
won a
just
couple
this
Super Bowls.
Yeah, and it was just this past year he'd moved to the Commanders, and now is going to UCLA, which tells you do people not want to coach in the NFL anymore?
Nobody wants to coach in the NFL
one
anymore.
The NFL.
I mean,
no one wants to coach for the Commanders, and that is a truism.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, Pitt Girl, do you want to coach the Commanders?
Not particularly, no.
I mean,
Okay.
I know there's new ownership there, but it's just like, and I don't know that
with Northern Virginia.
That franchise seems kind of cursed, like it was built on some type of weird.
Don't say that. Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about coaching that team is that there's one of the coaches of that team has gone on to have some success in the sporting world, owning multiple cars, competing not just in the NASCAR Cup Series but the NASCAR Xfinity Series. There's life after coaching that football team.
I mean, Mr. Gibbs, his racing, it's great. Every other coach there is
probably fine.
There was a tweet the other day about that franchise, the Washington football franchise,
the Wolf,
the Washington Football Club, I guess is what they called it until becoming the Commanders.
FC Washoe.
Yeah, so basically, I think an offensive coordinator was Sean McVay. He's now at the Rams. Another coordinator, Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the 49ers.
They were stacked.
They were
absolutely stacked.
There's more listed. I think Mike McDaniel, coach of the Dolphins. Yeah, there was a tweet, and I'm like, oh God, this is really. If you're a Commanders fan, you probably don't like that. So,
as I am only tangentially a Cowboys fan, y'all know this, that I do not ride or die for the Cowboys. It is tangential, but watching Washington get fucked still makes me happy. That's one of those parts where I don't like my team, but I do hate that team. So it all works out. The other interesting college football thing is that Barry Odom at UNLV is celebrating his first day of spring practice by riding a live bull.
Sure.
The unique event is dubbed Horns and Helmets. It will take place Saturday, March 2nd at South Point Hotel in Vegas.
Two things. One, nature is healing.
Mm-hmm.
Thing number two, if you were a real bull rider, you wouldn't be wearing a helmet.
Ooh.
Just saying.
He's not a real bull rider. He's the head coach of UNLV. So
Ty Murray didn't wear no helmet.
Okay.
Brett McMurphy dropped that little bit for us.
And I'm well aware. Please don't at me. I know that bull riders wear helmets now. I know. It's
good. Yes, you should.
And they should have for a really long time. Also, maybe don't ride bulls.
Yes, if you're going to do something stupid, wear a helmet.
It's true.
I think it's a good idea.
Very clearly do not wish to be ridden. Perhaps they should not do that.
If you are wondering why a bull might not want to be ridden, I would like you to look up buckstrap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If we want to go into the bull riding aspect, my dad had this weird thing that he would just watch bull riding all the time.
Oh, your dad and my mom are the same.
Oh yeah, it just is bull riding. So shout out to Tough Hedeman.
Yep,
and the cow Bodacious.
Yes.
Which
jump, skip. Yep.
Yeah, these when we went to, I think we went to Fort Worth, Dallas area, and on vacation, my dad was like, "We gotta go to rodeo and watch bull riding," so we went to Mesquite to go catch the bull riding there as part of a vacation, just because he's like, PBR, let's go.
Yep.
My mom and dad went to go see NFR at the Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas every year for a couple of years. And came back with all variety. Puddles has a large collection of cowboy shirts.
He's from West Virginia.
Where's the
wait, Cowboys
this is an interesting
the profession
mental
or
image.
Cowboys the team?
No, as in they would go to the National Finals Rodeo and they have a whole bunch of cowboy apparel places that are in there. And my mother would just purchase a wardrobe for my father. Pitt Girl, you've met my father.
Is it the clasp?
Large
clasp shirt?
bell buckle.
Okay, he's about the belt buckle.
It's like shopping at the farm
The
show.
thing is that he's not about any of this because Puddles really doesn't think about clothing at any point. My mom would just sort of lay things out for him. He'd be like, "Yeah, that'll be fine," and he just walks around like, he's unconsciously cosplaying at all times. It's kind of great.
Howdy. Also, shout out to Billy Bob's in Fort Worth.
Yeah. How about this? South Carolina has announced that Manchester United will play Liverpool at Williams-Brice Stadium on August 3rd.
I hope you enjoy the surface of the fucking sun.
Just my swamp ass is gonna have swamp ass. Like I'm gonna be sweating through so many pairs of shorts. Like, oh, it's oh my god.
From what I hear, Williams-Brice is like a stadium-sized one of those things that like women used to use to sunbathe by the pool. Like you get the big metal thing, and it reflects all the sun back up onto you, so you can get even better skin cancer later.
So you get sunburned beneath your chin? Yeah.
Yeah. English people, enjoy that.
God, this reminds me of like I was at a beach a couple of years ago that had metal benches next to the beach.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just not a good idea.
I'm just looking at the historical high and low on August 3rd.
Oh, it
says 93 is the high.
Yeah, but that's not with humidity.
No, definitely not. 93 and the low 73. So if they play the game maybe at like 9 p.m.
No, have to be after that. It would have to be like 11 to get down to 73.
But then that doesn't even work time zone wise with all of the people who actually want to watch this game. Like this game, logic dictates with time zones that this game's going to be like a nooner.
No, it's an American tour. It doesn't.
Yeah, no,
matter,
really. They won't.
They won't care about.
They won't
that,
show this shit
because Arsenal's playing in Los Angeles. They don't care about London on this tour at all.
Yeah, this is like I guess their preseason, right? Like it's like basically the Premier League is too important to play like regular season game. Like we're sending them NFL like regular season games, but to them it's like exhibitions. It's like this is not like a big game. Like it's not a match, right? I think that's what I'm supposed to say.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like this is not it's like just a for show. It's like basically like a tourist like travel thing.
And their top guys will play for about all of 15 minutes, and they'll pull everyone out and they'll rotate.
Yeah, just all the young ones probably.
Still going to be fucking hot. It's still going to be gross.
It's going to be ridiculous. I love that this is Liverpool's tour of the United States. It's Philadelphia.
You know what? We have
and South Carolina.
Yet today. Liverpool won something today.
Oh, they did.
They did. They won not the FA Cup, but the English Football League Cup, which is like
the Carabao Cup.
It's the cup contest for only the professional teams. It doesn't include like, pub team United, like the 12th tier.
Yeah,
it's like the top maybe top 4 leagues. I think, I don't know. Anyways, Liverpool beat Chelsea today in extra time. Go
it's kind of like the NIT, I would say.
Yeah, except now that would be interesting if you could play in the NCAA tournament and the NIT. That would be fun. And
like
the CBI and
equivalence is like the NIT, but it's still a trophy. Whatever.
It's hardware that Tottenham doesn't have. I can just say that.
Well, I mean, it's been 16 years since y'all won that one.
You know what? That was a great year.
Or maybe more. I don't know.
It's been a longer time.
Okay.
It's fine. So, can I talk to you about moon hummus?
Yes.
Yeah. Why would we say no?
I don't know. I one of these days, you usually say no whenever I start with, can I talk to you about blah? So I was impressed that you actually said yes.
Okay, but you can't say something like moon hummus and expect us not to be interested in the space food, Jordan.
I can't remember who retweeted this the first time.
So you're saying the moon is made of chickpeas?
Yes. Actually, Texas A&M has grown chickpeas in moon regolith.
Oh God, go figure, dog church.
Chickpeas, Gromit?
Yes. They have chickpeas in moon dust. And I posted this, and then a lot of other people had strong feelings about, Florida actually grew the first plants in moon dust. It wasn't food, but it was plants. And then LSU's like, we got something on the moon right fucking now. And we're getting this space race thing I'm really enjoying, because I really do think that the space race needs a catalyst. And an SEC space race makes me so happy. Because then there were people like, well, there's been a fucking Auburn flag on the moon. And it has spun off from there.
Aggies, the moon isn't an Aggie unless you bury a reveille there.
Oh, like fucking Spock.
No.
Like, we're going to shoot her.
No.
We're going to put the reveille in a fucking photon torpedo and shoot it into the moon.
And it's going to need a scoreboard. Just saying.
Gotta watch the game.
It's true.
My favorite thing about this is from the tweet that Texas A&M sent out. It implies that they think that the Martian really happened.
Yes, it does say,
But
remember
it's
when
not a
Matt Damon
movie?
was harvesting potatoes in space a few years ago? Yep. Not quite the same, but that's okay. He also did it on Mars, which has very different.
So I'm trying to figure out, it's like there's moon dust, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think the LSU fans would try to make a roux with some moon dust?
Okay, so I don't know. Do you know what moon dust is, like, lunar soil is made out of?
No.
It is tiny sharp shards of rock.
Okay.
Apparently, like, the problem with a lot of the samples that we've pulled back from the moon, like back in the day from the Apollo missions, is that they would just eat through the seals that we had them in because it's so sharp and so corrosive. Have you guys watched that awful? Like, okay, never mind. It's not an awful show. I really like that show on Apple TV about what if the Soviets got to the moon first and there was a space race. Okay, it's for all
Everybody
mankind.
keeps telling
It's
me
really
I
good.
really need to watch this.
It's really good. It's by Ron Moore, who did Battlestar Galactica. So it's not
Okay.
it's not super grim serious, but they do have a lot of, like, moon dust is annoying as shit and it just destroys everything. And yes, apparently it continues to do so. It's just like tiny little shards of things that just get everywhere. It's coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
But going back to Commish's original question, is the fact that most people look at it and say this is not a thing you should ever make into food enough to stop Louisianans from attempting to make it into food?
Oh,
No,
it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
The moon dust jambalaya. Here we go.
It would be amazing to do that. I feel like,
And I would eat it. I'm not here, like, I'm not trashing Louisianans. Like,
So
I will
it's
eat
like-
any.
it's
I
like
will
you
eat
like-
anything.
Little shards.
they
Throw
make.
it in a can of Tony Chachere's, and you got some Cajun seasoning
Mhm.
with some moon dust in it.
Red
oh,
beans and
you got yourself a roux.
I mean, you could probably do it. They would do it. I think they would. If I'm just imagining Cajun astronauts.
I'm just figuring you didn't put it through a food mill enough. Run it through a couple more times.
Yeah,
That's the problem. Is you just haven't ground it down enough.
I mean, no, just get the mortar and the pestle and just done. Just don't worry about it, baby. We gonna make you some gumbo, moon dust gumbo.
There was a terrible book that I had to read at some point in junior high about people who went into space and were going to farm, and every single plant that came up in this environment was super sharp. Like, would cut through everything, would terribly damage you. People had to, like, walk around with lead boots and everything, and they eventually solved it by discovering, hey, if we just put everything through a food mill, we can grind it up enough that we can eat it.
A fine slurry works for anything.
I do not remember what this book was called.
Book with extremely pointy space plants.
But seriously, we're gonna have a space race, an SEC space race, and I love it. I think this is exactly what we need to kick off the next space race. Is just, imagine an athletic director walking into the aerospace department, being like, "I don't know what to pay you, boys. We gotta get our asses to the moon right now. We can't have a fucking Auburn flag out there. What the fuck is this? It's bad for recruiting."
Imagine who's going to be the first person to throw horns down, but in space.
Right.
Like, how do you know which way's up and down?
Oh, that's true. I mean, at least Muslims have solved the reveille problem for us, because Muslims figured out that no, go with me here, because Muslims, clerics have decided that if you're praying towards Earth, that is correct. You don't have to pray towards Mecca when you're in space. You're just praying towards Earth. So that actually works for anywhere in the universe, technically. And so we just have to make sure that Reveille can
horns
see.
pointed at Earth are horns down.
I think so. And as long as Reveille can see Earth, that counts as being able to see the game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, also those of us who have read Ender's Game know that down is relative. So really,
Yes.
horns down is any way you want it to be.
Right. So
Yeah.
really, like,
the enemy's
thank
horns
God.
are down.
Thank
right.
God the moon's orbit is tidal locked. Otherwise, the Aggies would be upset.
Oh, imagine the Aggies fuck up, land on the dark side, they're gonna fucking turn that thing themselves. We're gonna have to rotate the goddamn moon.
Get all the king ranches up there.
Oh yeah. just blast them. We're just gonna have to go. Oh god.
Y'all are gonna have to midnight yell harder. We gotta turn the moon.
Matt, yeah.
In space, no one can hear you midnight yell.
I bet. I'll fucking tell you. They're gonna hear me yell. There's this shot in The Expanse, which is another great sci-fi series, where to yell at each other in helmets when like their comms don't work, they touch their helmets to each other because sound will travel in metal, and so they push their. And so I'm just imagining a bunch of Aggies like pressing their goddamn helmets together, screaming at each other.
Oh,
It's
that's
also
the
canon-
most Aggie thing possible, though.
It's also canon in The Expanse that Texans settled Mars because a lot of Martians have Texan accents, and so that just. I'm just imagining this.
It does kind of look like Lubbock, doesn't it?
It does. It kind of does. If you told me that Texas Tech's first extracellular branch was, Olympus Mons, I would probably go with that.
Oh my god, this is how Firefly happened, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this is how
exactly how Firefly happened.
I'm just imagining A&M, two Aggies in space. Their comms are out, but the lids are together, and they just go, whoop. Whoop.
No, their helmets together going helmets together 100 years from now going, I can't believe we're still paying goddamn Jimbo Fisher money. Fucking 100 years and we're still I'm mining lithium, was it deuterium from this fucking moon to give Jimbo Fisher his goddamn payout.
Interest on that's really a bitch, isn't it?
Really is.
Jimbo, you should have taken it in unobtainium.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say you should have gone to Doha, but apparently A&M's canceling that campus.
More like Doha.
They're shutting down the Doha campus.
Oh no! You just said unobtainium. Now I'm thinking of Avatar, but it's Aggie, so it's Aggitar.
giant blue Aggies.
Uh-huh.
No, they're maroon. They're totally maroon. They're maroon.
No, they're not. They're just Revelies. Humanoid Revelies.
We got dog people instead of cat people. Yep.
Yeah.
They did have a giant cat person in a Stanford shirt. That is canon. They were wearing Stanford gear in the first movie.
That is true.
Can't believe Stanford paid for that. I assume they did. At least I don't fucking know. So that's our lunar segment.
I didn't want to give like the really loud whoop because the family's going.
I know you were really you were hesitant.
I was like, no, it's the baby's not. I was like, I gotta be quiet. I can't just go full volume here because it's late and it's been a rough weekend with the baby. I didn't want to just go. I kind of want to do it now though. But
you did a pretty good one.
Okay, all right, that's good. We're fine.
We'll chop and screw it if we need to.
Whoop.
There it is.
Because this podcast is about factualness and accountability, I have a correction to make.
True facts here only.
On the last podcast, we said that the Summit League tournament was going to be at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls. That is not true. The Summit League tournament is at the Denny Sanford Premier Center, which is also in Sioux Falls, but is not the Sanford Pentagon. Named after the same person in the same city.
Yes, it's the same Sanford in the same city, but a different building. So we were joking on the last podcast about people messing up when they put the directions into like Google Maps or into their Uber. And, honestly, it could have happened to us. It could have happened to us.
Done. We'd have done.
I'm sorry, Summit League. Y'all are good people. I apologize.
It's the same
Pitt Girl
person.
and I can't leave you guys alone for 5 minutes.
No, that's what it shows.
It's the same person. So like Denny Sanford.
I believe it. Yes, the same people.
It's the same person that it's not Sanford and Son.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
While we are briefly on the topic of the last episode, I just want everybody to know that I, like Arthur, immediately realized that Team A and Team B were Wake Forest upon Pitt and Wake Forest upon listening to the episode. I spent that entire bit going, "Oh no, 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 no."
No, Commish, no, don't pick Pitt.
Yeah, no, it's weird because for so long, I had like for so long for me, college basketball and Pitt basketball were divorced, right? I mean, from when Pitt hired Kevin Stallings to 2017 until 2022, like they just existed as different entities to me. And suddenly it's like, oh boy, like they've converged again. Like following college basketball and following Pitt basketball, it's like, whoa, like there's overlap here. And it's really weird to know exactly what your team's net ranking is, but I do.
Okay. Beth, do you have anything to talk about for West Virginia basketball, or you just want to not look
No.
not look at it? Okay, it's fine.
No, I can't. I tried, and I'm still growing my skin back because it was an Ark of the Covenant kind of experience.
I have to admit, one of my favorite jokes that I made this week was someone had posted a little thing about like a newspaper wrote about an episode of Bluey being their Oppenheimer moment, and then I just posted a picture of Bandit looking through like the glass being really overexposed.
Bluenheimer.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a very good bit, Jordan.
I thought that was like my personal favorite one. It did numbers too, which I was really surprised about. But that was my favorite thing. Let's do, before we go into our plugs, because we have a new plug to add in. Can we talk about like coffee takes? We actually have a coffee ad that we're going to read. So let's talk about some coffee takes. Pitt Girl, do you have coffee opinions?
Oh, I have so many coffee opinions.
Yeah. What are your coffee opinions?
I think I've mentioned this on the pod before. Obnoxiously Pit Boyfriend have somewhere in the realm of 10 different ways of making coffee, none of which plug into the wall. We have a fully manual lever espresso press. We have a couple different mocha pots. My favorite one is the one where it's like a little fountain. You put the little cups in it instead of the pot where you pour out of it. We have, what else do we have? We have a Chemex, we have a V60, we have a Vietnamese coffee maker, which is great, by the way. Vietnamese coffee rules. Strong recommend. Big fan there. French press, all the usual things.
For folks who don't know what Vietnamese coffee is, could you explain that one?
Oh, yes. Vietnamese coffee is like legal speed. You brew it very strong in this little thing called a fin, which works kind of like a French press, but not exactly. You can make Vietnamese coffee in a French press if you have one and you don't have the Vietnamese coffee maker. You brew it very, very strong, and then you mix it with sweetened condensed milk, and then you go to space, and it's amazing.
I should try this.
Oh, yeah, Beth, it would probably be Beth Death, but you would die in such a great way. I really enjoy it.
Vietnamese iced coffee is one of the best things in the world. It is like many. Oh God, I'm going to say this. This is going to get me in trouble. It is like colonialism in a cup, because it is a combination of the French process of making coffee, but it's so goddamn hot in Vietnam that they didn't want to drink hot coffee, and they couldn't get access to dairy that they trusted, so they brought over sweet condensed milk.
Yep.
Same thing that banh mi is colonialism on a bun, because it is the French baguette with the Vietnamese deliciousness on it. Same thing.
Yes. Yeah. Worth noting also, if you make Vietnamese coffee at home, you want to make this with a very, very dark roast. Ideal, and actually, this is also one of the relatively few like excellent applications of Robusta coffee, which is like the cheap coffee that instant coffee gets made out of, but it's actually very good as Vietnamese coffee. Strong recommend there. I also make cold brew by the gallon. I am a cold brew girly. It is the way and the truth and the life. And yes, it is 4 degrees in Pennsylvania right now. Not actually, it was warm today, but cold brew all year. Thank you. This has been Coffee Opinions with Pitt Girl.
There we go. Beth, do you have coffee opinions?
I have a can of Café du Monde chicory coffee in my pantry, and maybe I could figure out a thing to do with that.
You could make Vietnamese coffee with that, actually. That is a good roast for that.
I have a whole lot of tea opinions, but I do not have coffee opinions.
Oh, when you come to Dallas, I'll take you to Rakkasan. They do loose leaf tea from it's sustainably sourced and from small growers all over the world, and it's amazing.
You mean like this stuff that I have?
Yes.
That was just next to me? Cool.
Yes. Wow, that was impressive.
She always got that tea on her.
Commish, do you have coffee opinions?
I'm always it's all cold all the time.
Yeah.
I pretty much just do cold brew. I got a gallon thing for Christmas. So I have it's just like a giant mason jar,
Mm-hmm.
and like with the steeper in it, it's so great. Is probably I've you get a Christmas gift, and some you may use on occasion or something like that, but like this one I'm using on the daily basis. So very, very useful. I love the chicory. I love the New Orleans coffee. I love that stuff. Cuban coffee, very, very similar to Vietnamese coffee, just a little bit different method, but that tends to be hot, which I would like my stuff cold. Just give me cold coffee all the time. I don't need the heat on the coffee, and on this diet that I'm on right now, I can't have like creamer, so I can have like some like stevia or something, but it's just like there's no cream, and I'm like, but I'm surviving on it. But the cold brew is helping out a lot, and I'm noticing different flavors that I would get out of different beans
Yeah.
now, which it gives me a different level. And I don't want to be a snotty coffee person, but I've already bought some from our new sponsor.
So
it should
let's
be
roll
coming
right
in
into
shortly.
right into that. So go ahead, tell us about our new sponsor.
So we have a new affiliate partner. It is 7 Coffee Roasters. They are based out of Seattle, Washington, but they are Hawaiians who live in Seattle. So we got a new code. Essentially, we got a new link to use. We got the Hawaiian coffee roasted in Seattle. Get the best for all those late night Hawaii tests. That's what I'm going to say. That so.
I like that.
7 Coffee Roasters. We have a link. You can give them your email off of the link, and they'll email you a 15% off coupon for your first purchase. And then you get fresh roasted coffee in 3 to 5 business days. So as soon as they get the order, they are roasting the coffee, roasting the beans for you to get it out and get it to you within 3 to 5 business days. Also, their coffee prices that they have, include shipping. So there's no additional shipping charge on top of what you see on that. They have some subscriptions. They have some good stuff. I bought a bag of is one of their blends called Biscuit Bitch, and apparently one of our Seattle local friends says that it's actually a restaurant name.
Yes.
There's like a Biscuit Bitch restaurant like not too far down the street. And then there was another one that I got. It is a Guatemalan trapezito. I was like, okay, let's go with that one. So I'm excited for this. It's a very small roaster, which is cool, and they do everything sustainably. There's zero waste. It's awesome. So give them a shot. Click our link and sign up. They have subscriptions too if you want like the coffee subscriptions, and they have multiple different ways you can get the roasted coffee. So you can get like the whole bean roast. You can get there's an espresso roast. There's a press, a drip, all that stuff that Pitt Girl and obnoxiously Pitt boyfriend have in their house. That they could use some of this. So there's 4 different varieties. It's pretty cool.
For those of you who, unlike me, do not have a coffee grinder sitting on your countertop, various grinds available, but it is worth investing in a coffee grinder. Just do it yourself. It's much fresher.
Yeah, just get.
Do the thing.
I have 2. I have 3 in my house.
Yeah, I got one.
We have a manual and electric because I make cold brew by the gallon. I got tired of grinding a lot of coffee.
That's a lot. You ran from the grind. But
so you have 3 coffee grinders, and you get on my ass for having 10
but they're not for coffee. I have one for coffee, one for one for like chili spices, and one for warm like pumpkin pie spices. Because one time I fucked up and I ended up getting some cumin into an apple pie, and while that was interesting, not exactly what I wanted.
Okay,
cumin's hard to get out of those things. So so I have 3 coffee grinders, but I use 2 for spices. Beth, how many percolators do you have?
8, I think 8 or 9.
Okay, I was wondering because those don't exist anymore.
Well, if you want a percolator, I know where you can get one.
I do. When we all come visit for Camp Beth,
You can all take percolators with you. It'll be your it'll be your guest gift.
Do you have one in avocado green?
No, they're all glass. These are all
I
glass.
was hoping for an avocado green one. My grandpa used to make percolator coffee, and when I started drinking coffee, it was like I had never had coffee that scorched and that like it was jet fuel, but not in a pleasant way. It was like scorched jet fuel. Oh my god!
The only times that we ever used them was when my adopted grandfather would come and visit, and like he was on EWO, and I feel like that maybe explains some things.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I'm just imagining Beth's house is the central Pennsylvania version of Downton Abbey.
Yeah, I like that.
In the intro, it's the Pennsylvania polka played by an orchestra.
Instead of all the dinging bells, you just have me yelling down the stairs.
Hey, it's dinner time! So definitely get on our new partners, 7 Coffee Roasters. We'll tweet out the code as well and get it everywhere because I'm excited to get some new coffee too. I have been, although it's going to be 90 tomorrow. Here, right.
Yeah.
So, but it is going to be 55 2 days later, and I may need. I know, me too. And so may need some warmer coffee. So I might try some hot coffee. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
55 is still very much cold coffee weather, even
Cold
if you.
coffee.
Oh, I agree.
Unlike me, are not a cold coffee all the time person.
I am a cold coffee all the time person. My one hot coffee take, by the way, by hot coffee I mean a spicy coffee take, is that sometimes you just need like truck stop coffee.
Yes.
Or like just hot coffee in a large like a mug at a breakfast diner. That coffee exists for a reason. Is delicious. It requires lots of cream and sugar to like get it to calm down in my stomach, but sometimes that just needs to be there.
Yeah, diner coffee hits. As someone who drinks like also like, nice coffee, diner coffee is the workhorse of coffees, and I respect that, and it is good. Also,
Are you put salt in diner coffee types?
No.
Okay.
I would also like to take this moment briefly to appreciate the new coffee machines that Sheetz has, where they grind the coffee for you, and then it comes. It's like an all-in-one grinder, brewer, and you can tell it's fresh because it's got the CO2 bubbles on top. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Sheetz, for innovating.
Yes, that and the new menu order screens that tell you whose order is presently being prepared are my 2 favorite Sheetz innovations. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do love to watch the machine.
Other things we're plugging this week, as always, $5 a month gets you access to our Patreon and Discord where you can yell about us, about our bad opinions in real time. If you like hot coffee all the time, tell us about that. Why not? Your $5 a month will absolutely help me get my lattes, so you might as well pay them. I do have to say that between my 2 classes that I teach on Mondays and Wednesdays, I have a little bit of time, and I'm in sort of a douchier area of Dallas, so there's lots of coffee shops, so I get a good pour over between classes. Even if it's toasty out, just because I like the pour, like sitting there with the pour over with my laptop. Like there's a whole, it's a thing.
Good pour over is very good. Also.
It is, and they do like nice like specialty roasted beans. So I drink it pretty much black, just because I like the flavors. It's a little oily, it has that little bit of oil to it. It's real nice. So that's $5 a month. We also have our podcasts, our podcasts that are Patreon only. We're going to be starting up soon with Commish's Corner again, and Beth and I almost have ours ready to go. I asked our listeners to submit versions of their fight song, like their like the most traditional versions they can find, with all the extra stuff, like all the like the spellings, the cheers, and whatever. I have a whole.
And I'm sure we have a perfectly reasonable number of those. That is not at all overwhelming.
A bajillion. So I have a different idea how we're gonna have to break this down. We're gonna break this down a little differently about that, because I realized quickly that going 1 per week is not gonna happen. So we're gonna have to break it down.
Hey, listen, we'll be busy till the heat death of the universe.
Oh, hey man, that's if I can figure out why Sam Houston State uses Semper Paratus, that'll be my win. Because
the Coast Guard.
Yes, I think
we've talked about this. I remember talking about this.
Yeah,
I heard that Sam Houston State. We heard it on one of the broadcasts. They use Semper Paratus, And I emailed the band director there, and he didn't know why it was either. But apparently they have some long-standing agreement with the Coast Guard on a certain arrangement. But they also can't record it commercially. It's a whole thing. Because Semper Paratus, I don't think it's owned by the Coast Guard. I think it's owned by someone else and licensed. Anyways, it's a whole story. That's an interesting one. We'll also getting back to Commish's Corner pretty soon.
Yeah, I got a couple. I'm working on getting lined up with Blue from Feed Your Mascot podcast to start recording some of the Prairie View Chronicles, which I believe we're tentatively set to record on this Wednesday, which as long as we can make that happen. I don't know how many parts this is going to be, but I'm going to try to keep it under an hour an episode.
There we go. A thing we've all always said and never managed to do.
And no, Blue has a hard out.
Oh, there we go.
At the hour. So hopefully we can do that. And then I'm trying to break it up because it's just an incredible amount of information.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And it's just, it's incredible to see what the players went through. There was a lot of different things that happened there. And I mean, just to see where the program is now and their stadium now, like coming from that to, coming from that to where they are now is kind of an amazing thing. And we kind of want to highlight it.
We have a merch store at sickoscommunity.org. Ladies of Sickos gear, Safety Alert, and our Vaporwave lineup. We have a YouTube channel that actually has videos and shorts now. They're great. You should watch them. They're really funny.
Yeah, subscribe.
Our good friend Hector is doing those for us. Hector, who also does videos for folks like Split Zone Duo and those guys. We have an Instagram as well, where I just throw up the usual things but add filters to them.
You know what's funny with the YouTube, by the way? We're at 499 subscribers.
We are. I saw that.
We're past the weed number.
We are.
We are past the weed number. We basically just need one more. Please, if you're listening to this,
it could be you.
It could be you.
It probably should be me.
Are you not subscribed?
No.
Beth, do it right now.
Beth, congratulations. You're a lucky subscriber 500.
Jesus.
Hooray!
Hold up. I have to refresh this till Beth subscribes.
Hang on. I'm
Smash that subscribe button. Jordan, you didn't even have to remind me.
Tickle that like button.
Check the doobly-doo for all of the links.
Do all the things. And we'll
I think I am subscribed. Never mind.
Damn
I did
it.
do the
Okay.
thing.
Well,
You are not lucky subscriber 500, but listener, you could be lucky subscriber 500 if you smash the subscribe button.
Smash it. Just absolutely smash it.
That's what
or
you're
just
supposed
press
to do,
it
right?
gently.
No, it doesn't count if you don't fucking smash it.
Yep, you got to smash it like you're slamming down a landline phone.
Yeah.
I do remember doing that. I do remember landline phones.
The house that I'm currently in has 3 landline phones.
That is so many.
I haven't paid attention to those phones in a long time. Landline phones, Pitt Girl, are not like cell phones. Typically, you had several of them in a house.
I'm aware.
But I discovered that Puddles was still paying for the landline phone, but he also found the way that it rang to be irritating. So he just took the Cat 3 cables out of all of the phones.
What?
They're just hanging there. Like, these are not cordless phones. These are cordy phones.
Yeah.
And they're just hanging on the wall. On the hook. Yeah. So then he doesn't have to deal with it ringing. Also, you can't make any calls or answer anything.
So, but where did the calls go then? Just to the void?
I don't know. Do you want me to go downstairs and get a phone? I don't
No,
know.
Hey, we just hit 500.
There we go.
Hey!
Thank you, Arthur.
Yay!
Thank you, Arthur.
There we go. 500. Now all we need is 4,000 more watch hours before we can get monetized.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how many watch hours we needed, and
It's
I'm
a
like,
lot.
if we keep posting 1-minute videos,
in a million years, whatever, it'll be fine.
Kind listener, please consider putting our podcast on in the background on mute while you're at work, which is something that I keep forgetting to do.
How many watch hours do we need total?
I don't know.
a lot.
1,000?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
500?
Last I've seen,
If
we need
we
to
can
get
just make
3,000.
okay, so if we can just make one 3,000-hour video,
Yeah.
and then I'll just watch that.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as we become big, I'm just going to turn the channel into a flat Earth channel, anyways. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna sell out to minions.
I'm going to use minion memes to sell flat Earth to people.
Perfect.
I thought you would go the Bluey route, but okay.
No,
I mean,
Such a conventional thinker
minions are
thinking
better.
that Earth is real.
Minions are better for the old folks that I'm trying to scam into our channel.
Yeah, we all knew that eventually our target demographic was going to be boomers on Facebook.
Yeah, and little minion memes about like they think the Earth is really a sphere. Ha ha ha! It's actually a torus, a donut. Yeah, I think I've said this before on here, but I remember back in the day, like I used to listen to that radio show Coast to Coast AM and listen to like.
Oh my God! Yes,
right. Like,
yes.
Like I used to listen to this radio show that was on from like 11 p.m. to
I'm sorry,
3 in the
Commish.
morning.
We're going on this. We're going down this road again.
And it was just like listening to people be like, call this special number tonight. Tonight's special number is for energy vampires. Call this number if you're an energy vampire. Call this number if you're a time traveler from the future. Call this number if you're a time traveler from the past. And
are you one of the lizard people? Oh yes.
Yeah, and like they would have whole theme nights, and they would do this over and over again. Art Bell would do this for years and years, and then George Norrie. And like I would love listening to this because I assumed everyone else was also in on the joke. But then I found out in the last couple of years that no, people are not in on the joke. People actually believe this stuff, and it was a lot less funny. But that used to be my overnight like drive when all you had was AM radio to like comfort you to wherever you were driving.
Yep, I'm driving back to Altoona from Indianapolis in the middle of the night.
Coast to Coast AM.
Yep.
4 hours of people talking about just whatever's on your mind, whatever Jesus brought. Jesus wants you to speak
I'm
about.
pretty sure that my mother-in-law is an alien, and not that kind of alien. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that. Shout out to Message Board Geniuses podcast. They go to the places that you refuse to be. And lastly, our original sponsor, someone we love dearly, is Comfortable Apparel. I just did laundry, and I'm staring at my pile of laundry on the bed right here. And there are so many Mobile shirts. Beth is wearing the People Mover West Virginia shirt.
PRT.
Girl's wearing her Pitt. Was that Pitt?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the blue script, like baseball script Pitt hoodie.
Love
it's
it.
very good.
I very much want to get you a PRT shirt, Pitt Girl. I
That
know you have no use for a West Virginia shirt, but it's a very good West Virginia shirt.
It's the only West Virginia shirt I would ever consider wearing because the PRT is objectively delightful, even outside of the fact that it happens to be in Morgantown.
We also have our Sicko shirt showdowns. We haven't picked our new one for this week yet, but we do have our other ones still on sale. If you Google Sicko shirt showdown, it does come up. And all those shirts are 25% off with offer code committee.
Yeah, we still got 13 shirts on the collection right now. I just have not. I don't think we've decided for next week.
Yep, we just haven't gotten there yet. It's been a busy weekend.
Decisions are hard.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks. It's time for... We are bringing back something that we've gone a few weeks without because I've been crazy in life. But we are going to bring back our segment, The Worst Season of All Time for teams who are above 600 all time. Was sat for toi 600 at?
Wow.
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 And we talk about 1957 Nebraska. So y'all, right. I'm going to drop the link in the show notes to my document. Show noteception. So you guys can read along with me a little bit.
We got show notes and show notes. My God.
Right. I've got who's
I
it's and
heard
what's
you
it's
like
galore.
show notes, so I got you some show notes to go with your show notes.
You want thingamabobs? I got 20.
But
Plenty.
who cares?
I want more. I want to be where the people are.
Just post the link so we can do the podcast.
Okay, I dropped it in the chat. So click on that. It sends you to the to the page. So y'all, 1957 Nebraska. This one came up because I've been looking for teams that have a very clear worst year. There are some that it's actually kind of hard to find a real like stinker year. I'm not going to make those programs feel so good yet by mentioning them. But Nebraska, they had a bad time. And that bad time was 1942 to 1962. About 20 years of bad football. And when I say bad, they were only ranked once in that time, and they had 0 conference titles in that time.
Jordan, do we think that we might be in another bad Nebraska time right now?
So it's not as long yet. And but it's hard to tell these things when you're in them. Usually after the fact's only when you notice. And
So
the
last,
rot was
so this
here.
one was 30 years, 20 years. How
20
long?
years, 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, and let's Nebraska.
Trying to figure out how long the current bad time
Yeah,
is.
I'm
So
because-
the last winning season Nebraska had at this moment is 2016. So
Okay.
But like
we're-
I
That
would
is- we are rapidly approaching 10 years of bad Nebraska, folks.
yeah.
getting there.
Okay.
We're still an adolescent away, though.
So let's talk about what built into this, because we had our good friend Dana Xenophon Bible comes back in this story.
Yes.
Xenophon was actually the coach at Nebraska from 29 to 36. And they won the Big Six Conference a whole bunch. Didn't go to any bowl games at that time, but that was still before like bowls were, a common a thing. So that wasn't super out there. And then a dude by the name of Biff Jones was the coach. And they actually lost the Rose Bowl, but went to a Rose Bowl in that time. And then in 42, things start going downhill. They get a new coach, Glenn Presnell. He goes 3-7, lasts only 1 year. And in 43, they get a head coach by the first name of Adolf, which in 43, hey, Nebraska, good for you. It was Adolf Lewandowski. He was the head coach and basketball coach at Nebraska. He goes 2-6 in 2 seasons and then bails. George Clark goes 4-5 in 1 season. We have lots of these teams where they go like, they last 2 or 3 seasons tops. Bill Glassford in the early 50s was sort of like the most stable thing. They did go to an Orange Bowl at that point, but they were only 6-5 that season.
So you're saying that Nebraska has trouble whenever they're just cycling through coaches willy-nilly.
Yeah. So like I didn't drop this in the post, but I will drop it in the chat. I'm going to show you sort of like the time frame that we're talking about here, because it is a rough one, y'all. Yeah, I just dropped it in the chat. It's this year's here. This is not, right. So we're talking like lots of just like 4-2s, 2-8s, 6-5 in there. Like I said, that was the high point. And then we get to Bill Jennings. So at this point, Nebraska football is in a rough patch. What ends up happening is that Pete Elliott was hired to be the head coach of Nebraska in 56. He goes 4-6, and then he bails for Cal. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they hire Bill Jennings, who was an assistant in Oklahoma from 47 to 53. He also played ball at Oklahoma. This is, by the way, when Oklahoma was just murdering everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good Oklahoma time. He was the backfield coach for Nebraska in 56, the year before, and then gets promoted to head coach in 57. With just a flailing Nebraska team. If you go to the next page down, you see a picture of him. He's just like a nice old dude in a white t-shirt. Like, just looks like a guy. Commish, will you drop pictures for me as we go in the chat?
Okay.
You also see a picture of him being lifted on his shoulders. Lifted on his players' shoulders in one of the few wins that they had, because they did not have a lot of wins underneath coach. And then you also have him just looking real button in a nice tweed jacket, I believe, with real slick back hair. Real sharp looking dude. We also have the coaching staff here. Bring back coaching staff just taking pictures in white t-shirts. Why not? It's a good look for them.
It's a vibe.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the schedule. They go 1-9 this year, which is the lowest point of any Nebraska team. They win 1 game at Kansas State, which is actually interesting because at that point, Manhattan, Kansas was sort of the place that was snake bit for Nebraska. They would go there and they'd fuck things up just constantly. This year, they beat Kansas State in Manhattan and lose the rest of them. Well, who do they lose to? They lose to Washington State, Army, number 20 Pitt,
Woohoo!
Syracuse, Mizzou, Kansas, Iowa State, Colorado, and then the last, number 6, Oklahoma. This is just a combination of a very bad out-of-conference schedule. Washington State, Army, Pitt, and Syracuse doesn't sound like a really bad out-of-conference schedule, but in that time period it was. And the fact that 2 of those games were on the road, at West Point, at Pittsburgh, it was just not a great run for them. I do want to sidetrack us a little bit to start with, though. I have an article called University Marching Band Begins Fall.
Oh,
And-
wait. You're going to sidetrack us with band stuff?
See, right.
No.
So,
Wow.
I do want to talk about this because
Oh,
they talk about this in the newspaper like it's the team. Nebraska's veteran baton waver of over 30 years watched 81 returning lettermen check out suits Monday, officially the first day of practice for the 120-minute University Marching Band. And
Wow.
we have stuff like, but Professor Lentz cautioned the Husker fans against exuberant optimism. Our trumpet section was knocked in the teeth. We had 39 trumpeters, and some of the best ones were lost through graduation. When it comes to fanfares in the face of the brisk north wind, there are nothing like trumpets. Okay, I like that. Professor Lentz admits that they'll have some hosses up front, such as Dick Oring of Omaha, the returning drum major who had 2 years' experience with the Marine Band and one with the Omaha North. Equipped with a new baton, Dick believes this should be his big year. It's Dick's big year. The Scarlet and Cream maestro has shifted Orland Thomas of Lincoln to cymbals. In the past, he played trombone and the glockenspiel. And a possible threat is Bill Rasky from Central City, who plays one of the few E-flat clarinets in the country.
Jordan, did you write this?
No, but it's
Did you
great.
travel back in time to write this?
This is amazing. We need to talk about bands like we do football teams. Can't believe he switched position.
Formation. My God, this is
Yeah.
so good.
we lost so many trumpets. I don't know what we're going to do.
Oh,
Get a rare E-flat clarinet.
Oh, my God.
but there are some flat notes, in quotes, on the outlook. Professor Lentz laments the schedule. 3 games in November where early darkness and cold weather hamper the early evening practice sessions. You can neither pass off notes with gloved fingers, nor can you control trombone slides in the dark. I don't know what that...
You can't control anything to do with a trombone ever.
Correct.
Darkness have nothing to do with it.
This was also part of the picture I sent you all this morning of the 2 horn players being absolute fools.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, same article. Okay, so what did people think about this schedule? Well, they were pretty sure that it was going to go badly, but they didn't think it was going to go as bad as it actually did. Most people were like, this is going to go like 6 and 4. Like, this is a good 6-4 year. Not great, but this is when we turn it around. Guys, if I go back and read through those 20 years of newspapers and I skimmed headlines, it was a lot of, this is the year this turns around. We're going to get back to the 40s. This is the year Nebraska turns football around.
That sounds familiar.
It was really hard to read, y'all. Knowing what I know in the year of our Lord 2024, it was a real rough read.
I believe, though.
So
Let's go.
So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see their starting lineup for Nebraska and how much they weighed. Because again, we're in the time period where the only advanced stat we have is weight. I do want to point you to the 198-pound center, the 179-pound left guard, and the 195. Sorry, the 198-pound center. My bad. Yes, that was their backup. And so yeah, this was not like a beefy group like you would think of. In fact, it's brought up several times that the Pitt team have monstrous boys.
Yeah.
And it just got rolled over.
It's because we put French fries on sandwiches.
But usually you think of like Nebraska ball as being like big beefy boys. It was not this year.
Not yet, at least.
From the yearbook, football reigns as king of sports. The exaltation of victory, acceptance of defeat, intense emotions with insight into character, essentially teamwork, particularly sportsmanship, kaleidoscopic crowds, enveloping spirit, and rewarding fatigue. I don't know. I will say that the most prominent pictures in the yearbook were of Nebraska players being injured. You can see pictures of them in neck braces right there.
Yeah, there was some interesting stuff in here.
Oh my goodness.
I love that they had the number on the side of their helmets.
Yes, that's the Nebraska traditional number on the side of the helmets. They used that for quite a while. I think when they took it off. First article. State Air Force to invade Memorial Stadium. So what does Washington State's Air Force look like? Quote, we averaged 28 passes per game last season, and we'll pass even more if our grounds game bogs down. That's what Washington State's air attack
So
looked like.
many.
And y'all, that
Somewhere
first game...
the ghost of Mike Leach is laughing.
And so that game didn't go well for them. They lost that first game to Washington State 34-12. And I do have the stat line right there. I do need to look at that Nebraska stat line because they did attempt 15 passes, 7 completed, and had 2 intercepted for 86 yards. And that's sort of like a high point for them this season. Washington State's like air raid was 23 passes, 14 completed with 3 interceptions. So it was not great around, like all around.
Can we take a moment to appreciate the line from this article about right end Don Ellington?
Go ahead and read it.
Right end Don Ellington, is the, quote, Mr. Smarts, end quote, of the ball club, according to the Washington State brochure. He has the classroom savvy of an owl, the gridiron courage of a lion, and the face of a choir boy.
Oh, okay.
That's the weirdest Sphinx.
So the response to the game by the staff sports writer of the Daily Nebraskan, through the courtesies of Bobby Newman's deft right arm and Jack Fanning's sticky fingers, the Washington State Cougars completely annihilated the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Saturday, drubbing the home team by a score of 34-12. There were 31,000 fans who witnessed the onslaught, which proved to be one of the poorest played games in Nebraska team in many seasons. Ouch.
Uh-oh.
From the very onset of the contest, the Washington State club completely dominated the stadium scene with its passing techniques. It did not relent until the final gun sounded. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll be okay. We're gonna go to play Army next. And
wait, I'm looking at the stats of this game.
Yeah, go for it.
They said their passing attack went crazy?
Yeah. 23 passes for 14 for 23 with 3 interceptions.
14 for 23. They threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
And they only threw 165 yards.
That was considered to be a dazzling passing attack.
Okay.
Are you dazzled?
I'm very dazzled by the... I'm looking at Nebraska's passing.
It was worse.
7 for 15 for 86. 2 INTs. I don't know. I love how they have punting stats. It's great.
Right. No, this is the best part.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all knew this. There was a Asian flu pandemic, an H2N2 pandemic in 1957.
I did not.
It did. Yeah. And so it actually has a lot to do with this season because a lot of Nebraska's players ended up catching the flu. So they were already shorthanded and then they had people out. So they traveled to West Point, and they're hoping for a turnaround here. This should go well, right? This is, there's some injuries. They've lost some of their players already. Their left halfback had a hip injury. They lost. Yeah, my favorite one was other players nursing hip injuries at this time are center Dick McCashland, halfback Doug Thomas, and Bill Hawkins, guard Don Kempke, and center Dick Pruzia are hampered with bad Charlie horses. So how did this go? Well, the headline tells you everything. Cornhuskers humiliated by West Point 11. Nebraska butchered 42-0 in boring contest.
Ouch.
Oof.
Okay, this one, the numbers here tell you a little more. Army's 24 first downs to Nebraska's 10. Army had more passing yards than Nebraska. Nebraska only had 11 passing yards. I will say that, again, they don't list this the same way every time, but Nebraska had 14 passes attempts, 2 completions, and they were intercepted 4 times.
That's really hard to do.
Right. I think that's what it's saying here.
That is definitely what that says here. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ball does not, in fact, go there. Ball does not go there.
No, not at all.
Over there.
Yeah, it says it weird. It's like passes intercepted by.
Right. Like a very, very, very passive voice here. Those passes were intercepted by.
Very weird.
Well, it sounds like they passed in passive voice.
The Black Knights of the Hudson. This is a quote from Bob Martell, the sports editor. The Black Knights of the Hudson were very unhospitable Saturday afternoon as they shellacked the visiting Cornhuskers 42-0. It was the 8th worst beating suffered by the Huskers since World War II.
Oh, only the 8th worst beating.
We're having to really be cautious here with those words.
Yeah.
The contest was so one-sided and boring that early in the third quarter, the crowd of 20,000 started to leave. Yeah, so we are on a slide. 6 different Army players scored in this route, and they actually list the ways. I'll post this later on, but they actually list the ways they scored there. And at this point, apparently, the sports editor of the Lincoln Journal was starting to bitch about like Nebraska football and being like, "Look, this team hasn't good since World War II." Because Nebraska fans were like, "Oh, we're still this great team. We're still this amazing team that we were like before World War II. We're still a great team." And this Lincoln Sports Journal editor was like, "Y'all haven't been good in like 15 years." And Nebraska fans were going, "No, we're still good." Again, if you've heard this before, I don't know if you've heard this.
History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
It's like poetry; it rhymes. And again, we have more articles that are like, "What's wrong with the spirit in Nebraska? People don't cheer anymore."
Oh no!
But y'all scroll down. Beth, tell me who's going to play at the homecoming.
Where am I looking?
Keep scrolling down a little bit. This is like page, I don't know.
You'll see it.
Huh?
Who's playing homecoming at Nebraska?
Duke Ellington.
Duke Ellington is playing homecoming at Nebraska.
We shall catch the A train. We shall.
That's awesome.
That's great. I love that.
So we're back to this. Del Rasmussen, the sports staff writer. The University of Nebraska Cornhuskers, after losing 2 humiliating games in as many starts of the 1957 football season, finally found their own last Saturday in Manhattan, Kansas, and won a game 14-7. This is their one game of the season. A defensive team showing of the Huskers, comparable to the mighty Huskers of old, that held the Wildcats 3 times within the 4-yard line, proved the Huskers' might under the tutelage of able head coach Bill Jennings.
I'm hearing they got lucky as hell.
Yeah, so K-State actually outrushed them and had more yards than them, and also, by the way, had more first downs. Nebraska intercepted them 4 times.
Oh, that'll do it.
That'll do it. Okay, that's fine.
Wait, hold on a second. What? Am I seeing that correctly? That they had more interceptions than completed passes?
Yep. They Nebraska
it was
went
a tie, I think, right?
Well,
4-4.
So Nebraska went 3 for 6, and their defense intercepted.
Oh,
4
okay.
times,
Yeah,
yes.
the other way.
Oh yeah.
This is that moment where you're like, your D-back should be your receivers.
Mm-hmm. They're catching better,
They probably were the same.
but now they've got to go to Pittsburgh,
Woo-hoo!
and they have issues with flu and injuries. And Pittsburgh actually is pretty injured at this point too. I do love the little mini article. Sooners defy flu, place first. Even with the flu, they're really good. We have a picture of the cheerleaders cheering on the Huskers as they leave for Pitt, but headline, Giant Pittsburgh squad spanks Huskers 34-0.
No.
Pitt Girl, I need you to scroll down to the next page. I want you to read some of those stats out for us, because the stat sheet actually tells you how bad this game was.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
go for it.
Oh, no. First downs for Nebraska, 4. First downs for Pitt, 28. First downs by rushing for Nebraska, 2. First down by passing for Pitt, 23. Or by rushing, I'm sorry. 2 and 23. First downs by passing, Nebraska, 1. 0 for Pitt. By penalties for Nebraska, 1. 0 for Pitt. 334 rushing yards for Pitt and 64 for Nebraska.
Jesus.
Pitt did throw 3 picks, but not sure that really mattered.
Nebraska's stats got into double digits 3 times in this stat column.
And one of those
And
is
one of
punting
them's
average.
the punting average.
Yep.
And they had a punt block too.
Oh my lord.
So this was just like, this was the point where
Pitt just sat on them.
and
They
it,
just sat on them and then laughed at them.
and it gets worse, Beth, because here's from the article. A fired Cornhusker team took to the field for the third quarter, and this fact, coupled with the fact that Pittsburgh used their second and third strings, accounted for the result of the scoring in that period, which was nothing.
Oh my god.
Towards the end of the period, however, the Pittsburgh fans, all 40,000 of them, started crying for more points to raise their football ratings. Head coach Joan Michelson answered their bids by sending the first unit back on for the remainder of the game to hit pay dirt twice more for the crowd.
Hell yeah. Run it up on them.
You don't see that anymore.
No, I wish we did. Bring it back.
Also, the Zelta Beta Tau House had a possum.
Oh, look at the possum. There's a picture of the possum.
Nice kitty.
Frisbee,
Yeah.
Sputnik, afternoons in the Delt Woods, beanies, but whoever heard of playing possum in a fraternity house living room? Sound funny? It should. And it did late on Thursday night in the Zeta Beta Tau House, when a homeless creature of Mother Nature matched wits with the would-be college hunters. Several men sat in the living room watching television when Dave Herzog exclaimed he saw something dash across the floor and take refuge under a corner radiator.
If you're cold, they're cold. Let them inside.
Facing the animal's slashing claws and razor-sharp teeth, Herb Belkin, armed with only a heavy leather glove, put the visitor in a box and returned him from whence he came. Outside.
Yes, notoriously fearsome possums.
How did they get this picture then? Did they get a picture real quick?
I don't know if it's a stock image of a possum.
Okay, I was just like, is this the actual possum or is it another possum?
Did you have stock images in the 50s?
I don't know. Maybe, I have no idea.
Okay, so Syracuse is coming to town. Maybe that'll help things. Nebraska flirts with Syracuse, then drops 29-7 game to Orange. Nope.
Can we start using that headline in other situations?
Flirts.
A game marred by fumbles, pass interceptions, and ragged defense.
Auburn flirts with Alabama.
Oh no.
Oh no. You know. I do miss these old pictures that actually had the like players' names superimposed in them in little text blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I do miss those kinds of things. The Big Red did have a temporary 9-7 lead. Stats on this one were pretty even, so it's not super interesting. The only thing to point out in this one is there is a category called forward passing because we're still not sure about this thing is a concept in D7 Nebraska. Nebraska went 3 for 8 and then threw 4 interceptions as well. They really got to stop doing that, y'all.
It's always 4 too. Has anyone noticed that it's consistently 4?
One for every quarter.
Yep.
Balance.
Also, Nebraska rushing, each of their rushers was averaging like 2 to 3 yards a rush. So it really was 3 yards in a cloud of dust here. Another favorite headline, NU students skidoo migrating to Mizzou. And away we go. That's the cry being heard all over campus as Nebraska students make ready for the official, unofficial annual migration to Missouri for the Husker-Tiger gridiron clash this weekend. Indications are, however, that this cry will be heard much less frequently this year than last year. In 56, when the migration was to the land of tall mountains and the 3.2, over 5,000 Husker students and alumni boarded buses, cars, and special trains to follow the Big Red to Boulder. This year, though, University of reports that only 600 tickets have been sold.
Wait, keep going. Go to the end of that paragraph and look at how expensive the tickets were.
What were they?
400 tickets still remain to be sold and could be purchased at the Coliseum today for the regular Big 8 price of $3.50 each.
Oh, I couldn't possibly.
Also, scrolling up a bit, that is actually more than it cost to see Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington was $3 per couple.
Oh, that's... So what about this game? There should be plenty of cheering. There should be plenty of Nebraska cheering Saturday when the Cornhuskers take on the Missouri Tigers at Columbia. This contest has been designated a migration game for the season. A large number of students will be making the trip to lend their support to Bill Jennings' crew. As far as football is concerned, the Huskers enter their second Big 8 tilt of the season as 19-point underdogs.
Oof.
And unfortunately, they lose this one 14-13.
Oh no!
So close, yet so far. That's the story of the Cornhuskers' attempt to ruin Missouri's homecoming and pick up their second win of the campaign. Nebraska led 13-7 with 2:42 left when Tigers quarterback Phil Snowden decided to take one to the air. Once again, the Husker pass defense was not up to par, and the Tigers hit on 6 of 7 attempts to move the ball to Nebraska's 18. They ran it in. So close, yet so far. That was a pretty close match game. Probably the best game they played all season. And now it's time for homecoming.
What could go wrong?
I did throw in the homecoming, the ladies of homecoming, a photo of them. And
the
also
finest floating heads of 1957.
And also the sorority that won the best, I think, front yard decoration is a Jayhawk in a corset.
Sure.
The picture of the homecoming court has a dude in the middle who looks like Gru from Despicable Me combined with Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins, and I need an adult.
I was gonna say he looks like Mr. Magoo when he like goes for his old Rutgers cheering. Yes. Scroll down a little bit, Beth, and you'll see the Jayhawk in a corset. Yeah. Shout out to the ladies of Chi Omega.
It's always the Chios.
Yep. Toe topples Huskers once again. Missed kick spells heartbreaker. They lose homecoming 14-12 on 2 missed extra points.
No.
Oh no.
Yep. Okay, so we are clearly at.
Wait, didn't they also miss a kick at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, so with 90 seconds to play, the Huskers try for a chip shot field goal from the 13-yard line.
Yep.
Oh no.
And
it barely got off the ground, letting the Jayhawks escape Lincoln with a victory. George Schiffer said afterward, "I don't know what happened, but the ball just squirted off the side of my foot." 2 failed PAT attempts earlier in the game also proved costly for the Huskers, who had finished 1-9, worst in program history.
Yeah, this was like at this point, the team and the community is starting to feel this.
I like the diagram on this one. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the diagram of where the ball went.
Oh, do you have
how? I put it in the chat. So it's just it just line drived into people.
Yep. It ping ponged around.
Yeah, it was
Plinko.
Just college kickers.
Always.
A national treasure that we don't deserve.
So Iowa State's also sort of at the bottom of this conference too. Maybe they can get a win over Iowa State. Nope.
Oh.
The stubborn Iowa State 11, very averse to the idea of losing to the Scarlet of Nebraska, proved their wishes Saturday by beating the Big Red 13-0, the first win over the Huskers since 1945. So now we're at that point of these seasons where it's like, oh, we haven't lost to this team since.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. So we're at that point of the season now. Iowa State ran all over them. The biggest disparity here was, once again, Nebraska coming up with 6 interceptions.
Wow.
And still losing.
That's so many.
That's so many. It's so many.
And they also got 3 fumbles.
Yeah.
They got 9 turnovers.
9 turnovers and they still got shut out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Oh, God.
And y'all know I like to bring you little, sort of other things I find. And this next article is part of that. Bomb case pending, no additional clues.
What?
Apparently someone bombed the SAE house, causing $150 in damages. And the best part is fragments of the bomb were examined by Lincoln Air Force Base, and base officials reported the device was, quote, not homemade.
Oh, shit.
So I could not find a into this story. I hate to tell you guys right now. I'll have to dig some more. But apparently someone bombed the SAE house.
I mean,
everyone's fine. We can laugh.
I have to assume that there's still just kind of ordnance just hanging around everywhere.
It's
that
57,
we haven't.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Jack McLean, who was studying on the first floor when the bomb went off, said it made a terrific noise.
How would you describe the noise? Terrific.
It was terrific. It was a terrific noise. Yeah. Okay. I don't think anybody's ever described a bomb going off as a terrific noise.
My Lord.
Okay, here we go. Now it's Colorado. Rivalry game, okay? Huskers out to skin Buffaloes. We got this.
Hang on. Did we mention the fact that bomb did $150 worth of damage?
A lot of
hang on. How much is that in modern? Time to go to the inflation calculator.
So here's the thing. I want to know exactly how much this is.
I'm working on it.
Because I'm imagining, Jordan, you've spent more time in fraternity houses than I have.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any way that you could do that kind of damage to a fraternity house? Is there anything in a fraternity house that's worth that? I assume the house is totaled.
The pool table. That's it.
The pool
So-
table.
It's done.
Yeah,
And the
yeah. So
foosball
that's,
table.
I think that's about right. Because $150 in 1957 is $1,646.35 in 2020.
That's a pool table.
That's a
That's
pool
a
A
pool
table.
table.
window and a pool table. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
something that's big enough to be destroyed, but something I couldn't steal from the house myself.
Oh fuck!
Okay.
It hit the PS5 and the TV.
Yeah, right. There we go. Yep, it hit the PS5 and the TV. That would be
Both
it.
of which might be worth that kind of money put together, but let's not pretend that anybody bought them.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they were acquired. Okay, Huskers out to spin buffaloes. In fact, we have a young lady who was chosen as a buffalo stopper. If you guys scroll down in the document, she is
Hold
dressed
on.
as a cave woman, I
Hold-
believe.
Hold on.
Yeah?
Let me address this headline here. It says Huskers out to skin buffaloes. Cellar dwellers clash in Saturday contest.
This was the, like, if we don't win this one, we're not going to win another one.
This is the sickos game of the week in 1957.
And
Because
and,
at this time, I'm looking at Colorado's schedule. They are 1-3
yes.
in conference.
And the young lady of Alpha Phi was dressed as the, quote, girl most likely to stop a Colorado buffalo.
Can we talk about the like
That weird panda. in the
badger
background?
behind her?
Okay. I thought it was a
What is
panda.
that? It's looking into my soul, whatever it is.
So I'm not sure if it's the buffalo head, because they used to play for a buffalo head. I have a picture of that later on, but I don't think that's it. I'm not sure what that is.
I mean, it's one thing to come up with like your leopard print Wilma Flintstone dress,
Yeah.
but it's real commitment to then reupholster your shoes in the same print, which this
Right?
person has done. You've committed to the bit.
Congratulations, Mary Patrick of Alpha Phi. So they won this game, right? Nope, 27-0.
Oh my god.
Now, I want you to look at the next, Commish, I want you to talk about the two headlines in this newspaper article next. Because that's
Okay.
the Buffalo losing is, or sorry, the Huskers losing is not the top headline. What is the actual top headline here?
So the top headline is the Sooner win streak broken at 47. So Oklahoma loses
To Notre
their
Dame.
47-game win streak.
They break their win streak. That is the top headline.
Yes.
Fighting Irish upset Sooner 7-0. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Subheadline. Buffs blank Cornhuskers 27-0. Scarlet falls to Loop Cellar. Another great shot from the newspaper, which is like drawing out plays like in pencil over
I love
games.
this so much.
It tells you exactly how the play went. I love these kinds of things. Especially because the pictures aren't in good enough definition to even know where the goal line is, so they have to draw that in for you.
I like the dashy line of where the football went over here.
Oh, I've got a trick play draw for you later on, Beth, that you're really gonna love.
Oh, perfect. I'm very excited.
Buffalo head to remain Nebraskan. The University of Nebraska will retain the traditional Colorado-Nebraska victory symbol, the buffalo head, by default, Bill Spilker, president of the Innocent Society, declared this week. The Colorado Heart and Dagger Club, which is a Colorado student body designed to accept and present the trophy during halftime ceremonies each year, failed to attend this year's contest.
Oh.
Since Colorado's organization delegated to accept the buffalo head lacked the initiative, time, and spirit to accept the head, we didn't feel compelled to release the head to other Colorado students.
Petty bullshit. Yay!
Well, it's,
So-
it's like when you don't show up in traffic court and the judge just rules against you by default.
So it looks like they made the cave woman dress up again to take a picture
I
with
just
the buffalo
assumed
head.
she was wearing it all week.
I mean, that's what I would have done too. The next article says 18 Nebraska football gritters bow out against Oklahoma Sooners. I assume that meant that 18 players were like, I'm done with this season. I'm not playing the last game.
They all entered the transfer portal.
It actually
The
means,
original opt-outs.
it actually means that like 18 players were graduating. They were seniors, and this was their last game. But
It's
the
only going to affect their draft status. Just leave now.
the article made me think like everyone was just like, I'm not playing Oklahoma. Fuck that.
No, I'm
Fuck it.
done.
I'm not gonna get killed by Oklahoma.
I'm not
They're-
doing that. They just lost their
pissed
winning
off.
streak. They're going to be angry.
They're so angry. And Bill Jennings has one of my favorite quotes in football ever. Not much more can happen that has happened to us this season already.
Hang on a second. Time is a flat circle. Check out that one ad.
The athletic department has requested that anyone interested in earning $1 an hour should be at the football field this afternoon at 3 p.m. in order to clear off the snow from the football field. Hell yeah!
Always snow.
Huskers lead but falter for 9th loss. Sooners romp to 37-7 victory. They were ahead until they weren't.
I feel like they're paying those kids to clear out the football field more than Buffalo paid their fans.
Hang on.
$1 an hour versus $20 an hour.
$1 an hour in actually no, $1 an hour in 1957 is $10.98.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Move to Buffalo. Don't go to Nebraska. That's what I learned.
From Ron Shaheen, staff sports writer, the Cornhuskers closed their poorest football season ever Saturday as they fell to mighty Oklahoma 32-7. The amazing spirit exhibited by the Huskers made the game much closer than the final score indicated. As all 31 Cornhuskers fought their hearts out, they won the emotional battle. Now, I want to point out that in the newspaper, they have a trick play. It's on the next page. Commish, do you want to describe this Oklahoma trick play?
I love this.
The diagram of the play that tricked Nebraska.
What do they do?
So Oklahoma lines up in this weird type of U formation. So there's like 5 linemen, then there's the quarterback, then there's 5 linemen behind them.
And then what do they do?
And they're like way off the ball.
They're way off the ball.
That's the huddle. Sorry.
That's
just the huddle.
Yeah.
And then what do they do?
I'm baffled myself here.
So they are all lined up 8 yards to the left of the ball.
8 yards to the left. And it's the center snaps it 8 yards to everybody over there.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
It is.
I love that.
And then they all run power left.
And then it's just student body left.
It's literally student body left.
With the student body literally already left.
And does Nebraska shift over?
No.
Nope.
To line up next to where the actual players are?
No.
They only have one arrow. Why would they do
that, Jordan? Why would they move to where all the guys were?
I'm trying to imagine Nebraska just lining up with a dude in front of them, snapping the ball 8 yards to the left and back. And Nebraska's defense is still just lined up in front of the dude, the center.
And I understand that the arrow next to Nebraska during step 3 labeled play as it's not just that there's one linebacker who's like, maybe I should go over here, but that's really what it looks like.
It's just like, what? Why?
I'm just imagining
why are they all over there?
All the D-line guys are just like going into their fake like practice position with nothing in front of them.
I do like so there's one part about this that I really like too. So in the formation, you can see that they moved the center 8 yards over so that he is on the ball. And then he snaps the ball, and then you have the play. If you look at the play, the center is no longer there. I assume this is because the center has died.
Oh, just obliterated, like off the face of the earth. Yeah,
he's dead.
Dead, been raptured, abducted by aliens, any of the above.
And
I also like the fact that Nebraska's formation is kind of like the anime eyes emoji.
It is. Just your 2 safeties just chilling back there, like 15 yards to the left of where the play actually is. It's like, Coach told me to be here. This is where I'm going to be. I don't want to get yelled at.
We run a 5-4-2. Watch.
Why? Why is everybody over there? What are they doing over there? Are they going to come over here? The center's here.
The ball's here.
The ball is here.
Ball's here.
Why are they all over there?
Can't go there.
What are they doing over there?
God.
It's just
crap.
It is a trick play in that the trick was that Nebraska just decided to not move.
The trick was that Nebraska didn't realize it was about to be a play.
Oh, I just can't imagine, like, what kind of horseshit is this? Like, the coaches just must be Bill Jennings losing his mind about what kind of horseshit, unsportsmanlike thing this play is. Anyways, yeah, y'all, this wasn't a great season. Overall standings, Oklahoma goes 6-0 in conference play. Kansas 4-2, Colorado 3-3, Missouri 3-3, Iowa State 2-4, Kansas State 2-4, and Nebraska goes 1-5.
7 teams and the thing called the Big 8.
I think it was
love
called
tradition.
It was the Big 7.
Big 7 at this point, but
That's
they
right.
used them sort of interchangeably. No, they
the articles called them the Big 8 the whole way through.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, in this article, they called them the Big 8. In this, from the active years, that's weird.
Wikipedia says Big 7. It's weird. I don't know.
Maybe, but the newspapers say it's the Big 8, and I just love this tradition.
Yes.
Also down there, a picture that Commish sent me to start this whole thing off is a picture of a snowplow and a Nebraska football player doing the Heisman pose next to it.
10 out of 10. No notes.
Beautiful. I mean,
also keep going down. The pictures from the yearbook are great. This is a picture of Bill Stinnett shouting advice to a teammate. He looks very happy. He also looks like he's about 100 years old.
I also like the dude on the phone who's shielding his eyes with a cigarette.
Yes.
I like sad Husker with the caption, an opponent scores, the Husker despairs.
So
I think it's the same guy.
Like moments after.
It's the same guy. The Huskers, pictures. You're missing a picture in here. It says the Huskers fumbled the ball.
Oh, did I miss the middle picture? Hold up. Let me. Yes. I have that open still.
It's a 2-act. It's a
3-act.
It's a 3-act play. Hold up.
Yes.
I got it full up the yearbook. As always, thank you to the great librarians and digital archivists at all these schools that scan yearbooks and newspapers. We could not do what we do if y'all didn't do that too. Oh, here we go. It's even better if I put it all 3 pictures stacked. Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will wait for you to put the picture in the middle.
Actually, underneath that one, I'm just going to put all 3 pictures stacked. Shouts advice to a teammate.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Fumble. Stinnett reconsiders the play. An opponent scores. A Husker despairs. It's beautiful. It's fucking art.
God. You know, we don't give enough credit to the simple sentence for its power.
This was the worst season of all time for Nebraska. So far. Yet. Nebraska fans, if you're listening to this, why? But if you did listen to it, know that like this does feel very cyclical. And I'm not just saying that. I didn't tell Pitt Girl or Beth or Commish about the season before coming in tonight. Commish had read a little about it. But like I did not bring the story in here before now. And so all the stuff that they're connecting was stuff that they just saw.
Mm-hmm. You know, Nebraska fans, if you can take anything from this, know that it can get worse.
I mean,
come on, man.
How many years did the Israelites wander in the desert? Is it 40?
Remember, you are mortal. The corntastrophe is right around the corner.
The corner. Okay, I love it.
Hey, maybe Matt Rule is the guy that's going to pull you out of this. Maybe Matt Rule's going to be the guy that pulls you out of this.
I know.
Maybe he's
they had football players dunking over his head this evening.
Well, because here's the thing, y'all, is that it did end right after Bill Jennings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were one coach hire away. And a lot of the history that was written has said, well, Bill Jennings recruited, and it was Bob Devaney used Bill Jennings' kids. That's why he was so good. That's why they won a Gotham Bowl their first year out. Okay, y'all, that's...
I need Nebraska to be terrible for at least one more year, though, so that I can write an article with the headline, Cornhuskers Lost in the Maze.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Okay, folks, that's what I got for tonight. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay. We'll
don't fight Cam Newton.
Don't fight Cam Newton.
Okay.
We'll see y'all on the other side.
You can't tell me what to do.
Don't do it.
He's a real big guy.
Don't do it.